Hi, I'm Mark Milligan. This week we're going to look at the roster and let you know who got called up, and later Curve broadcaster Nate Bowen will give us a lowdown on who is new to the Curve as we go around the Curve. Last week was a very busy week in baseball. The Major League trade deadline was last Friday, and many teams, including the Pirates, were making moves trying to find that last piece of the puzzle to make them World Series contenders. Well, down in the farm system, we see the ripple effect as the roster shift from the top down. Let's start with Monday, July 27th, when the Pirates' number one prospect, Tyler Glasnow, was called up to AAA Indianapolis, and the Curve added infielder Jacoby Jones from Bradenton. Jones batted .500 for the Curve in 3 games leading up to the Friday, July 31st game before he was pulled minutes before game time in a deal with the Detroit Tigers to net relief pitcher Akeem Soria. But the Pirates weren't done yet, deciding to promote Eastern League All-Star Dan Gamache to AAA and bring infielder Erich Weiss up to the Curve from Bradenton. The next day, 2 more Curve players, Josh Bell and Jeremy Bleich, were promoted to AAA Indianapolis, and the Curve activated pitcher Josh Smith off the DL and added Hunter Morris, who started his stint here with a 3-run double in his first at-bat. So to recap, the Curve lost Tyler Glasnow, Josh Bell, Dan Gamache, and Jeremy Bleich to promotions, and Jacoby Jones via trade. They've added Erich Weiss and Hunter Morris on assignment, as well as activating Josh Smith off the DL. And now joining us is Curve broadcaster Nate Bowen to talk about how the roster is shaping up for the Curve's postseason push.
It's good to be here, Mark. Lots of roster movement after what was a very quiet first few months of the season.
Absolutely. Would you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about the new adds in Weiss and Morris?
Erich Weiss is a guy that played in 98 games down in Bradenton, hit 3 home runs, knocked in 49 runs for them. Batting average was north of .280 for him. He plays primarily second base, also designated hitter. We've already seen him at both of those spots in the lineup, and he's an everyday guy that he's scored a run in each of his first 3 games with the Curve, so we'll expect some more of that offense from him. And Hunter Morris, he's a guy in the past, he's hit 20 home runs on 2 different occasions in the minor leagues in the Brewers organization, so hopefully he can bring some of that power here, and we saw in his debut he had a 3-run double. It really helped the Curve against the Ducks just the other night.
When you take a look at Weiss moving into an infielder position that's already fairly well stocked with Adam Frazier and Max Moroff, do you think he brings added depth to the position, or could he play a few more coming up?
It will really help out the Curve because they did lose Jones, one of the guys that you talked about, and Gifton Gope from earlier this year. So either Moroff or Frazier can slide over. They can play shortstop. We've also seen Frazier very effective in center field, his ability to just read the ball and run balls down as well. So that'll definitely help.
Now, as we talk about some of the big names that have left, including the Pirates' top prospect, Tyler Glasnow, the 3rd-ranked prospect, Josh Bell, the Curve are still fairly well stocked with 3 prospects in the top 30. Do you want to talk about them a little bit?
Yeah, Bell and Glasnow is obviously a big loss to the team. Both of them had very successful debuts in AAA for Indianapolis. Barrett Barnes is one of the guys that we've got just kind of a few days before all this major roster movement started. He made his debut on July the 27th. He's a guy that's a very toolsy guy, to borrow a word from Baseball America. We've seen him stealing bases already with 3 steals his first 8 games. He had his first AA home run the other night. So he has a lot of talent, and hopefully that'll really start to develop here at the AA level. He has been injured a little bit throughout his career, but hopefully that's behind him, and we can see him out there every day in either left field, or sometimes he will see the DH role as well, I would think.
The pitching staff has been progressively strong throughout the season. They were historically unbelievable the first probably 30 games into the season. But now we're starting to see the development of some of the other guys towards the bottom of the top 30 prospects for the Pirates, and Chad Kuhl and Stephen Brault. Do you want to talk about kind of how you see them fitting in and shaping up as becoming more of the 1 and 2 starters coming up for the later half of the season?
Chad Kuhl put up great numbers last year at Bradenton, went 13-5 with the Marauders and led the organization in wins. Hasn't had the win numbers yet, but very good July. Gave up just 2 earned runs in the entire month of July. So one of the better months that we've seen from any Curve pitcher, despite the great start that everybody had. And he's continuing to roll now into August. And then Stephen Brault is a guy they got in a trade with the Orioles, and he just was named Pitcher of the Week this week. So he went 2-0 this week, ERA south of 2, and his strikeout numbers have been very good. We're starting to see the development of these guys. Brault, even a couple of nights ago when he started here at P&G Field, he kind of struggled with his control a little bit early on, but was able to rein that in. Still had the big strikeout numbers and was able to go deep into the game.
Now that we've promoted a few guys, let's talk about some of the success that they've seen in Indianapolis in their short AAA careers.
Tyler Glasnow, his first outing in AAA, 5 1/3 innings. He gave up more hits than you would have liked to see, 9 hits, but still had the big strikeout numbers. And as he continues to develop his changeup, that's something that he's really worked on this year to go along with his plus fastball and curveball. He should continue to improve. The sky is really the limit for what he can do with the amount of talent that he has. And then you look at Josh Bell, his debut the same night as Glasnow. He ends up with a walk-off single. He was very big for us, had a walk-off walk earlier in the year, a couple of walk-off hits as well. Expect more of the same from him. Dan Gamache went 0 for 3, scored a run in his debut, but he's back over 300, 4 for his first 12. So Gamache is a guy that's really hit amongst the best guys in all of minor league baseball and the major leagues as well over the last 2 months after a slow start. So it's good to see him getting some time as well. He slid up in the lineup from the 9 spot the first couple of nights. He sit in the 2 hole as well for them. So expect good things from them at Indianapolis, and they're in a position to make the playoffs and make a deep run as well in the International League.
Thank you, Nate. That's all for this week's Around the Curve. Remember, for the most up-to-date information, visit altoonacurve.com or any of our social media channels. Have a good week.